University. I will be moderator for this session, finding the funding that fits, a forum for farmer service providers. We will have 6 speakers, so we have time limitation. That's why each speaker will get 10 minutes. That will be including Q&A. So enjoy, ask the questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I hope y'all are okay that we're not standing up there. I couldn't get up there. No, I'm just kidding. So my name is Joni Nelson, and I manage the Center for Sustainability of Farms and Families at Kentucky State University. I manage a lot of different programs, but the reason I'm here today is to talk to you about the Small Scale Farm Grant. How many of you have heard of or used the Small Scale Farm Grant? Yay! If you haven't and you have questions, ask the people that answer that raise their hand. All right, no I'm just kidding. So I'm going to be around at the conference for the next couple of days. The Small Farm Grant has changed a little bit this year, and the application is live. It is officially on the website right now, and you can fill it out. The deadline is February the 1st. I think he turned me down because I yelled. I'll step back, sorry. We have several different categories of the Small Farm Grant. New this year is we have a beginning beekeeper program. So if anybody's doing beginning beekeeping, we have a program where you can get up to $500. It requires certain educational, and it requires you to work with beekeepers or beekeeping associations in your area, your county. I have some information on this. All this information is at our booth out front in the corner. So just outside of the registration table, I'm right there in that little corner. So if you have any questions, you can come in there and talk to me about that as well. We have a farmer education assistance. A lot of people have used this to come to Oak and to come to other conferences. There's the East Kentucky Farm Conference coming up in the middle of February as well. This is $500 per family, per household, and you can get this once. It pays for registration costs, lodgings. The only thing it can't pay for is a meal. Like you can't stop at McDonald's and turn in a receipt on that. The other one is a small scale farm grant. It's up to $5,000, $10,000 lifetime limit. And we have several different categories in this. Some of the changes, so we have a organic category. So organic is either certified, exempt, or in transition, and you have to prove that. And you're probably thinking, how do I prove in transition? We ask you to work with a transition trainer from Oak or somewhere else, and they can send us a letter that say that you are working on that transition training. That way we know you are following those practices, and you're going to continue down the organic path as well. Now, that can help you get production-related equipment, but we also have value-added production. So if you're doing something with maybe fiber or food, jams, jellies, granolas, commercial kitchens, cold storage. I'm going to be doing a cold storage talk about 10 minutes over there as well. So we've done a lot of cold storage under that category. Agroforestry, we've done a lot of non-timber forest products. So if you're doing mushrooms outdoors or you're doing black cohosh, we've done some stuff with some elderberries as well. We have the food system resiliency. If some of you remember, this used to be the food insecure category. It's now called food system resiliency. There's no more map to worry about. Am I in a county? Am I in that county? You don't have to worry about that. Basically, if you can take if you're farmer's market, or you can take WIC, SNAP, food assistance programs, any of those, you can qualify for production-related equipment under the food system resiliency category. And the new one that we have is appropriate and emerging ag technology category. This is for people who have maybe been farming for a little while, and maybe they need some sensors for their greenhouse. Or we're not buying drones. We're not buying drones. Just don't even go down that, I'm not even going to go down that path. Not buying drones. So this is, maybe you had an NRCS high tunnel and you're moving out of the ground and you're doing, other things in your high tunnel. Maybe you need irrigation or something like that. This is a new category, and we're still fleshing out some of the fine details. Vermiculture is something else that fits in here. If you're doing something with worms, composting, precision agriculture fits under this. Now remember, the grant is up to $5,000. Any single piece of equipment over $5,000 needs up to $10,000. It can't be over 10, needs prior approval as well. This is a grant. You apply for it. Once you're approved, we send you the contract, you sign it, then you can start the grant. We are not reimbursable. We do not reimburse at all. It has to be moving forward. It's not the CAPE program. You can't get a receipt from 6 months ago and turn in. You have to be approved for the program, and then you can spend the money. We will send you the money. We're working with a lot of small farmers. We don't buy tractors. We don't buy consumables or expendables or inputs or anything like that. So think of special used equipment that you need for your farming practices, or maybe there's some kind of bottleneck that you need this one piece of equipment for to be able to expand production. And that's where you can get this grant. $5,000 up to $10,000 for a lifetime of the farm. Now, I will say this, associations and entities that have multiple farm impact, that doesn't mean like you and 2 other family members. This is like multiple farm impact can get up to $15,000. Farmers markets, we've had a lot of farmers markets that have applied for this as well. Speaking of farmers market, third Thursday farmers market is in March. So, any questions? I'll be around. Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's a really good question. You can have a small-scale farm grant, 1, a farmer education, 1, and a beekeeping grant, 1, open all at the same time. You cannot have 2 of any of them open. So you can do the bees as well. If you already have one of these other grants going, you can do that. You cannot apply for your other $5,000 until you finish this grant. You have to send in all the receipts and do the paperwork and stuff. Now, with that being said, you don't have to get $5,000. I have one farmer that has gotten maybe $1,200 every year for the past like 4 or 5 years. They still haven't maxed out. They're just getting the equipment that they need at the time, which is fine. You have to be farming. This is not a beginning farmer program. You have to be making at least between $1,000 and $250,000, and it doesn't do startups. So, and aquaculture fits underneath the emerging ag technology now. Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of that last grant you talked about?
The beekeeping grant, the small-scale farm grant.
No.
Emerging ag technology. So that's one of the categories under the small-scale farm grant. There's 5. Yeah, there's several different categories, so kind of seeing where you fit at in there. All of the information for it is also on our website, which is on the back of this brochure, and it's www.kysu.edu/SSFG, Small Scale Farm Grant. Made it easy. Hopefully they'll leave me that URL. So, any other questions? Did I see one in the back? No? Any other questions? I'm going to be around this afternoon and through tomorrow afternoon as well. If you have any other questions, I have business cards with me, but I also have some out here at the table as well. I think Marcus is next.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. Good. Can y'all hear me okay? I hate using podiums, so I'm just going to prefer not to use the podium. But again, my name is Marcus Tyler. Can you hear me? I'm forced to the podium. I'm good. But perfect. My name is Marcus Tyler. Again, I work for Farm Credit Mid-America. It's a pleasure. This is my second time attending the Oak Conference, so it's a pleasure to be here. And hopefully I have the chance to interact with some of you all afterwards. If y'all have any questions or during, please feel free to say so. I'm just curious, by a show of hands, how many people have heard of Farm Credit Mid-America? Okay. And by a show of hands, how many people are familiar that Farm Credit is not the same as Ag Credit? Cool. Perfect. I always like to put that out there because there is some confusion with Farm Credit and Central Ag Credit. You know, we all have the similar funding bank, but completely different structure as far as counties that we serve and things like that. However, we operate similarly, and it is different from FSA. So just a little bit behind Farm Credit Mid-America. So Farm Credit Mid-America, we were founded by Congress in 1916, basically to provide reliable, consistent credit for agriculture. So similar to like federal home loan banks, we are a customer-owned lending cooperative. So we service 137,000 family farms and agribusinesses across the Midwest. So that's Kentucky, Indy, Ohio, Tennessee, Missouri, as well as some counties in Arkansas. So for the most part, the key differences between Farm Credit Mid-America and a local lending bank. So when you conduct business with Farm Credit Mid-America, you become a cooperative member, and you basically have the ability to elect board of directors. So in addition to being able to work with, Farm Credit has a structure. We have a CFO, COO, you have senior leadership, but you also have the ability to become a cooperative member. So when you become a customer and you pay interest on your loan, you also become a cooperative member. Therefore, we are a farmer-owned lending cooperative. So essentially, you have the ability to delegate and vote for customer elected board of officials to represent you. So that's another reason why I feel like we've been able to effectively and uniquely tailor our loans and how we do that. So we not only have a senior leadership team, but have those in the area who do represent you all. So I think the state of Kentucky has around 3 or 4 representatives who work with our inside team to make sure we're doing right and serving those needs. We are a credit-only institution. So, your typical bank structures have they do deposits and credit. So we only offer credit. That allows us to move quicker in a streamlined process and kind of offer unique agricultural financing. And then we are a cash flow income-based lender. Can anybody tell me what that means? Somebody, I'm gonna call on somebody. I'm good at locking eyes with people. So a cash flow income-based lender essentially means that we base our loans off of repayment capacity. So, when you typically conduct business with a standard bank, they're looking at collateral for the most part, is determining the risk and if you're able to repay that loan. So we're able to do that through income and repayment capacity. Bank, like I said, you have your shareholders who pay dividends. Another unique thing about Farm Credit Mid-America is when you pay this interest and your principal on your loans, being a member-owned cooperative, we also provide patronage. So patronage is an annual dividend check that we give back to our customers for paying their loans. So instead of using that remaining net income that we get at the end of the year, we provide that back to our customers so you can reinvest that back in your property or your financial operation. And so I think up year to date, we've been doing that for the past 10, 11 years, and we've provided $1 billion worth of patronage back to our customers. So that's something that allows us to have pride in saying, you hear all the time people say, your success is our success, but it's good to actually embody that and be a part of that. I love to show this slide really quickly. Why profitability is important. I'll let you all help me out. When you do take out or request capital, are you profitable when you have to go into your savings to pay that loan? What about if you have to refinance? Okay, what about if you have to sell whatever it is that you took a capital request out on? Exactly. So for the most part, we don't want to go into that alley, that lane. We want to make sure that the terms and conditions, everything is set up fairly by you so we can make sure that we support you in your success. So I always love to show that savings, refinancing, and selling isn't important to us. That's why we based our loans off of profitability. Just some quick facts about Farm Credit Mid-America. We have $38 billion in assets, more than 137,000 customer owners, 88 offices within our geography. Net income of $477 million, and like I said, that allows us to reinvest that into our customers through patronage. $1 billion up year to date in how we invest that back in our customers, and we offer all types of loans, different loan products. So eligibility to be a customer owner of Farm Credit Mid-America is pretty simple. Either generate $500 worth of farm income or have at least 5 acreage of production. And so it's one or the other, it's not both. Three quick things that we look for, and typically any lender is going to look for. The first thing is 3 financial statements. The first is your business plan, a balance sheet, and an income statement. Can somebody break down for me real quick what a business plan is or why that's important? Ain't nobody going to lock eyes with me? Exactly. What's your plan? We want to understand that we're able to help you along your vision, and we see where you're trying to go. Balance sheet. Why do we need a balance sheet? Say it again. Absolutely. It's to understand your financial position at that time, right? By the income statement. Absolutely, right? What to prove profitability. So we look at these three items, and it allows us to help determine how we can get this financing done. As I was mentioning earlier, we have we essentially make a loan with anything that deals with agriculture. So we have revolving line of credit, we have term loan options when it comes to equipment purchases, and mortgages as well, so when it comes to real estate. So we also have a division called Rural First, and that is our commercial real estate division. So any type of loan that has an agricultural tie to it or production risk, we look forward to the opportunity of seeing how we can make that work. But in addition to just providing capital, I think it's important to understand that not everyone is at the opportunity or at that point in time seeking a loan, right? So it's like, how can we help you get there? So what we do is we have a Growing Forward program, and what this is an educational option. So what we want to do is making sure that we're kind of breaking these barriers of entry for you all to get into agriculture, right? So the big privilege of this program is we're able to relax our underwriting standards, lower that, and then essentially Farm Credit just assumes more risk. But the best thing about this is it's not just giving you a loan, but it's making sure that we hold your hand while we walk you through this lending process. So you get access to the mentorships, financial literacy, business acumen, free trips. We also just went to Hawaii, and we send you and your family any loved one that you would like to go there. I'm glad somebody started. I just wanted to see if y'all was paying attention on the last one. But essentially that's what it is. It's basically our educational efforts. So how are we making sure that we're investing and not just providing capital, but making sure that we're there and providing some information to get you along the way. And this qualifies for anybody that's under 35 years of age, or you're a beginning farmer. So you have less than 10 years of farming experience, or your request for capital has production risk, and any request has production risk. Building the infrastructure, I didn't mention, but my role is to work with underserved farmers, historically disadvantaged farmers. So this is a huge focus of what I do, but not necessarily the lending component, but how are we investing in the youth, those farming networks such as Oak, but how are we continuing to invest in our community? And we have 2 new opportunities in which we're doing that this year. So the first is our Community of Excellence Award. So this award, and you all can take advantage of this, but we have the next, I guess, time frame is April 3rd and May 10th. But what this does is recognize the rich spirit of community leaders. It can be a community teacher, a champion, but leadership, basically recognizing leadership that's done in the community. And we are looking forward to having our second winner. We just elected a winner from Tennessee. He worked for Tennessee State University as the director of a Farmers Academy program. But this is just something for us to continue to learn and see what agriculture looks like in the Midwest. So winner also gets $2,500, and that's the truth. I'm not exaggerating on that or making a joke. But also the opportunity to attend that educational conference, that Know to Grow conference. And also the Mastering Your Capital workshop, that is February 16th. But it's the opportunity to receive information from key speakers around taxation, succession planning, a little more a deeper dive into what financial lenders are looking for when it comes to financing. So just more face-to-face content regarding small agriculture, specifically in the state of Kentucky. So that is an opportunity. If any of you all are interested in attending, registration, lunch cost, all that stuff is completely included. Feel free to contact me or just ask about that information, and I'll get that registration link your way. mentorship, education, and resources. You know, that's how we make sure that we're invested in these communities and you all when it comes to agriculture. We got diversified lending officers who are experienced with tons of different operations, educational when it comes to that business acumen, and even resources. You know, how do we continue to leverage our relationships with K-State, University of Kentucky, Tennessee State University, all these different institutions in these different areas. So those people will be a part of our, it's killing me how this mic is coming in and out, but how those people will be a part of the efforts that we have in February, that conference. So that's a little bit about Farm Credit Mid-America. My contact information is right here below. Any questions? Any curiosities? Okay, perfect. Well, yes, ma'am. Absolutely, and that conference in February. That's what it's exactly going to hit on. So the succession planning, the wills and trust. How do you leave that for a legacy? Taxations when in regards to business structures. So all that information will be displayed there. It's gonna be here. Yes, ma'am. February 16th. But I'll catch up with you afterwards and give you all the information you need. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Victoria Wood from the Cabinet for Economic Development. I'm here today to talk about some of the incentive programs and lender support programs we have at the Cabinet that can support agripreneurs. The Cabinet for Economic Development is the state agency responsible for encouraging job growth and creation, but we consider ourselves super collaborators. So you can contact us at any stage of your business to get connected to the resources in your area that can help you start or grow your business. While we exist, we do site selection services, we help with marketing, we help with everything you need to operate your business and succeed in the state of Kentucky. And we cover your business at all stages. In the idea phase, you can contact us and we can point you in the right direction. We help with startups and growth and expansion into our larger business development incentives. My office is KY Innovation, the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and we have 6 hubs across the state of Kentucky that can help you with everything from building a website, logo creation, everything you would need, and it's all over the state. So it's not just us in Frankfort that are doing this. We have offices all over the state. The first program I'm going to talk about is the Kentucky Small Business Credit Initiative. This is a lending support program that is aimed to expand access to capital for small businesses. We have been allocated $117 million that we need to get out over the next 10 years to expand access to capital. And there's 2 types of programs in this. One is collateral support, where if the small business has a collateral shortfall, the state can come in and give your lender cash collateral to help you secure that loan that would typically fall outside of their lending guidelines. This can make that loan possible. And then there's also the loan participation, where the cabinet can purchase up to 20% of the loan, which will buy down the risk for the lender, again, helping extend additional credit. And those were up to 20%. Now there is a new increased support available if you meet eligibility requirements. I believe that's on the next slide, yes. Now we can go up to 50%, which is a big increase from the original iteration of the program. And basically everyone in Kentucky outside of Lexington and Louisville fall under rural designation. So most of Kentucky can access that increased percentage. It also includes very small businesses, which I think most farms would fall under, which is 10 or fewer employees, and those are considered full-time employees on a W-2. So as long as you meet have less than 10, you would fall under very small business as well. And there's also socially and economically disadvantaged individuals and DRABs, the disaster-related affected businesses, which is a county list. And this is talking about eligibility. The lenders do have to be a participating lender in the program, but if you're working with a lender and you're not sure, you can contact us and we can help you help your lender get enrolled in the program. They have to be an insured financial institution, a depository institution, a credit union, or a community development financial institution. For-profit and nonprofit lending institutions are eligible, and they must be appropriately registered with the cabinet as a participating lender. As the borrower has to be a small business, and that's considered 500 or fewer employees. There's special cases that allow that to go up to 750 based on NEX code. This matches Small Business Administration guidelines. And for-profit and nonprofit entities are eligible. The business must reside in Kentucky, but the owner of the business doesn't have to if you're on the line. And there's no passive real estate allowed in this program, so no Airbnbs or like rental property. And this just kind of talks about how the program works. The borrower works with the lender, and then the lender would work with the cabinet. But we do have conversations with borrowers every day who are interested in the program, and we kind of guide them back to our participating lender list, and we can help your lender get enrolled if they're not familiar with the program. And it does say the borrower must have equity investment in the project. So there's no 100% financing available, but all the underwriting decision is made by the lender. And the loan participation, this just kind of talks about that more again. It's up to 50% if you're the special designation, rural or SETI, and we can buy the loan amount, which will help make more loans for more people. Next program is the State Trade Expansion Program. This is a good opportunity for the value-added producers. It is if you're wanting to export your project or your products. You can use STEP, which is a grant. It's up to $10,000. It's a reimbursement grant. If it can help you translate your materials, it can help you ship your materials to trade shows, things like that. If you're looking to expand into a market, you do have to have a product that is ready to export. And Mary Niekamp is the contact on that program. She can answer any questions that you have. It's a good opportunity, I think, for people that are wanting to expand into new markets. The SBIR program is a federal grant, but Kentucky offers state matching funds. So if you have been awarded a federal SBIR, which is a Small Business Innovation and Research grant, you can apply to Kentucky to get matching funds. It is competitive. The Kentucky company must have 51% or more payroll in the state of Kentucky. For phase 1, we match up to $100,000. For phase 2, we match up to $150,000. They are through the federal agencies, like Department of Defense is the largest. They have the most money to give out, but USDA also has an SBIR grant that they issue as well. And we have a accelerator where if you're just kind of thinking about it, if you're doing research on your farm and you think you may have an idea or a project that would fit into this funding, they can help you write the proposal. They can help connect you to the resources, connect you to the university to test your minimally viable product or create a minimally viable product to kind of get you those resources you need to take it to the next step. And this is the topics that are covered under the USDA proposal lab that we work on in collaboration with Kentucky Science and Engineering Foundation. The topics are pretty broad over here. There's forest and related resources, rural and community development, small and mid-sized farms, very vague topics that I think a lot of different research categories could fit under. And if you get into this accelerator, it's no cost, and you'll be matched with a project manager that can help you find the resources you need to write your proposal, get one-on-one counseling, and match up with experts in your area. Now I'm going to move on to the tax credits. We have the Kentucky Small Business Tax Credit, which is available to all for-profit businesses with 50 or fewer employees in the state of Kentucky. It's a non-refundable tax credit for businesses that have created at least one full-time W-2 job. It does have a minimum wage requirement of $10.88, and you have to have invested $5,000 in qualifying equipment or technology. And the minimum tax credit you can receive is $3,500 to reduce your state tax liability, and it goes up to $25,000 per calendar year. Job creation is the driver, which is kind of hard for small to mid-sized farms, but if you yourself were a contractor for your years on operating the farm and then you move to paying yourself on a W-2, that would count as a job created. Then the one that might be the most relevant to you all is the Kentucky Selling Farmer Tax Credit. We would love to see more participation in this program. It encourages the continued use of agricultural land for farming by granting a tax credit to the selling farmer that agrees to sell their land or assets to a beginning farmer, which is defined as just 10 years or less agriculture experience. If you're a farmer wanting to sell agriculture land in Kentucky, you might be eligible for a tax credit of 5% of the purchase price. And it has a $25,000 calendar year cap and a $100,000 lifetime cap. It does exclude family members, so you cannot sell to your son or daughter or your grandson or daughter or their spouses, which is kind of the limiting factor for this tax credit. And that is our incentives. Is there any questions? Yes.
For that last one, do you have any way to match up someone that wants to seek that tax credit with an interested buyer?
You know, that's a good question.
What land is available?
That's a good question. We don't at our cabinet. You might contact your county extension agent. They may know what farms are available in your local area that could help you. There's not like a database of beginning farmers and farmers that are wanting to sell, but that would definitely help, I think. But yeah, maybe your county extension could help you kind of link up. Any other questions? All right, thank you all.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jay Hall. I'm the new Executive Director of the Office of Marketing for the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. You may know us. We do Kentucky Proud. We also house all of the organics certifiers in the state. So glad to be here with you today, and I want to thank the Organic Association of Kentucky for putting on this conference. Where else can you go and people just throw money at you? We're just heaping money at you. So if you don't have enough at the end of this, let us know, we'll get you more. But really happy to be here with you today to talk about the Resilient Food Systems Infrastructure Program. This is a brand new program out of USDA. And it was in May of 2023, yes, May, we're almost a year, and the Kentucky Department of Agriculture was notified we have $8.6 million to give away in this program. We have since responded back. This is actually old. I already sent that update in January 11th, and they sent it back to me. And so we've sent our fourth version to the USDA for approval, and we're hoping to hear back from them soon. What we're planning on doing is rolling out this application on February 7th, okay? So it will be on our website. It's at kyagr.com, kyagr.com. We're going to have a banner on the front page of our website. It'll say RFSI, applications open. You'll click on that, it'll take you to the application page. Before you can apply, you need to go to sam.gov, that's sam.gov, and you need to get what's called a unique entity identifier, a UEI number, okay? The USDA is requiring all applicants to have this number in order to access this federal funding. You have to have a unique entity ID in order to apply for this USDA funding. So go to sam.gov, register today, go ahead and get started so that when the applications open, you're ready. Also get your budget together, okay? Now let's talk about what you're going to be applying for. The purpose of RFSI is to build resilience in the middle of the supply chain, okay? So we're not talking about harvesting, okay? We're not talking about selling in retail. What we're talking about is that middle of the supply chain. We want to strengthen local and regional food systems by creating new revenue streams for their state producers, support the development of value-added products available to customers, and support proposals that provide fair prices, fair wages, and new safe job opportunities that keep the profits in rural communities. So this is the focus of this grant. We also want to increase diversity in processing options in terms of business model approaches, geography, and availability to unserved communities. Now, it's going to focus on these grant activities, all right? So expanding the capacity of processing, aggregation, and distribution of agricultural products to create more and better markets for producers. Modernizing manufacturing, tracking, storage, and information technology systems. Enhancing worker safety through adoption of new technologies and equipment or facility improvements. Improving the capacity of entities to comply with federal, state, and local food safety requirements, improving operations through training opportunities, supporting the construction of a new facility, okay, and modernizing or expanding an existing facility, construction of wastewater management structures, modernizing processing and manufacturing equipment, developing, customizing, and installing equipment that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, increases efficiency in water use, improves air and water quality, or meets one or more of USDA's climate action goals, okay? As you can see, there's a lot of different options here, all right? So what does all of that mean? It's going to be upgrading or new facilities for processing specific agricultural products such as on-farm post-harvest processing, preservation, and cold storage, post-harvest cleaning and grading, aggregator warehouse and storage, including cooperatives, okay? Purchase of freezing equipment, freezer or cold storage, processing, canning, preserving, and pasteurization, preparation and packing. Man, there's a lot of P's in here. Are you noticing that? Drying, hulling, shelling, and milling, cooking, baking, juicing, distilling, and fermenting, okay? Now, what entities are going to be eligible? Agricultural producers or processors or groups of agricultural producers or processors. Nonprofit organizations operating middle of the supply chain activities such as processing, aggregation, distribution of targeted agricultural products, okay? The for-profit entities operating in the middle of the supply chain activities such as processing, aggregation, et cetera, whose activities are primarily focused for the benefit of local and regional producers and that meet the eligibility requirements of the Small Business Administration, small business size standards they are eligible, okay? So for-profit entities must meet the eligibility requirements of a Small Business Administration, small business size standard. The North American Industry Classification System, NACS, all right, has those size standards, all right? I'm not sure, are these gonna be made available? Does anyone know? If not, okay. They're going to make these available. These are all links to that Small Business Administration size standard webpage. You're all going to fall under that Small Business Administration size standard. I have no doubt in my mind. Local government entities operating in the middle of the supply chain are also going to be eligible. So will tribal governments and institutions such as schools, universities, or hospitals, bringing producers together to establish a cooperative or shared infrastructure or invest in equipment that will benefit multiple producers in the middle of the supply chain activities, such as processing, aggregation, distribution of targeted agricultural products. Okay, ineligible projects: meat and poultry, wild caught seafood, exclusively animal feed and forage products, fiber, landscaping products, tobacco, dietary supplements, pre-harvest equipment, or infrastructure. Now, there are 2 grants that they're going to be giving out. One is an infrastructure grant, and that one we'll talk about first. Now, grant recipients are required to have a 50% match of the total proposed project cost as a match to the federal funding. So if your project costs $200,000, you can apply for $100,000 from the federal government, and you can match that with another $100,000. Now, this applies to all applicants except other businesses that qualify under SBA categories of small disadvantaged business, women-owned small business, veteran-owned small business. For these classifications, the required match funding for the RFSI contribution should be reduced to 25% of the project cost. Does that make sense? All infrastructure projects must adhere to the National Environmental Policy Act review process. And again, there's a link there, so click on that link if you have any questions about that. There's also an equipment-only grant. That is between $10,000 and $100,000. That does not require a match, all right? The simplified equipment-only option is a fixed price grant, meaning it will fund only equipment purchases and not associated facility upgrades, staffing, or other costs. And the amount awarded will be equal to the cost of the equipment up to $100,000. Yes, sir.
Is a vehicle equipment?
A vehicle is equipment. The question is, what will that vehicle be used for? Okay? And so if it's going to be used for one of those targeted areas, distribution, for example, but it can't be a distribution to the final retail. It has to be the middle of the supply chain. Okay? So you're going to get really granular with some of these questions, and I'm happy to answer those for you if I know it. But sometimes it's going to require a little back and forth. I will be around later so we can get into some of that minutia. I'm happy to have that conversation. Applicants, though, can only apply for one or the other. You only apply for the infrastructure or you apply for the equipment. You can't apply for both, all right? You can't apply for 2 equipment. You can't apply for 2 infrastructure. My time is up. Here's my contact information. Take out your cameras. Take a picture of me, and then take a picture of that. Just kidding. But I will stick around in case anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Right. I know that we are excited to get to the food truck and the other colored ticket in our name badges, so I'm going to be really, really fast. So my name is Lynsey Crumbie, and I also work for the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, but I'm in our Division of Food Distribution, and I'm here to represent the Local Food Purchase Assistance Grant Program, or LFPA. Has anyone here not heard about LFPA yet? It's so nice to see less and less hands when I go places. So yes, so this program is authorized by the USDA, and the purpose is for us to build and strengthen specifically our state's local food supply chains. With this program, we get to preference Kentucky farmers in our purchasing, and we're able to buy pretty much almost every edible product that comes from your farm. So obviously, produce is included in that, but we can also take meat, dairy products, whether that's fluid milk, if that's cheeses, yogurt. Then we can also do eggs, things of that nature. The only thing is with meat products that it does have to be inspected or processed at a USDA inspected facility. Now, if you do have poultry, we can buy state inspected poultry, but that limits you to only 2 buyers at this time. So for some, it's not advantageous to get USDA inspected poultry, and we understand that. So if I know that up front, then I will only send you to those buyers who I know or will consider it. Otherwise, if you are interested in doing the little bit of an extra work to get USDA inspected, I can help you find a processor that's closest to you who will do it, and then we can talk about how that's going to change the cost of your product. So what we get to do whenever we are buying, we are making these direct relationships with you guys as the farmer, but we also get to preference who we purchase from, and that's based off of whether or not you identify within a socially disadvantaged category. There's a very long list of how USDA defines that, but it's your typical age, race, sex, but some other random things are in there. But hey, if you feel that that has been a barrier to you as an agribusiness owner here in the state, then you can self-identify as a yes. And then that just kicks you up a little bit higher on the list whenever we're looking at offers and considering what products to buy and from who. The best part about all of this is that we get to buy whatever you produce, and specifically for fruits and vegetables, I want your number ones, and I'm going to pay you that retail value for it. And even for meats, eggs, and dairy, same thing. Whatever the commodity retail value is at the time in the market, that's what we are basing our pricing, and that's what you should base your pricing on. If you want to sell it to wholesale, go for it, do it, people do it, but it's because they choose to do it. But we will actually tell you to raise your price if it's because you feel bad or don't want to take advantage. Do it. I have $11 million, please. Please take advantage. I have a year and a half to do it. So charge us your retail. Then whenever we're doing these procurements, you also, if you need additional coverage for your transportation, that to get it from your farm to whichever buyer you're taking it to, if it's a flat rate delivery fee that you typically use, especially if you use a company or someone else that you hire, put that on your offer. Or if it's going to be you and then you just want to claim the federal mileage rate, which I believe is still 65.5 cents, we'll charge that. We'll calculate the round trip mileage for wherever you're willing to go, and then we add that to your invoice. That's how this will work. It's honestly pretty simple. You put everything up front, and then they take it for review. So here in Kentucky, we decided to do 3 tracks in order to not just provide a variety of food assistance to the community, but mainly also to provide each farmer several different levels of market pathways. Most states have decided to stick with the Association of Food Banks, but we wanted to expand beyond that because that didn't truly represent enough, what we felt to be enough opportunity for our farmers to grow. So we are using a partnership with Feeding Kentucky. So in this case, you would be able to do procurements with them, and your distribution sites would be any one of our 7-member food banks. Or if you're in the God's Pantry service area, they have the food bank and then 4 regional distribution centers. I do have a table up in the atrium, and I've got a map, so we can look at that and tell you exactly who might be the closest to you. But in their case, all you have to do is if you get that offer accepted, she sends you PO, you drive up to that food bank, you drop your stuff off, and you walk away, and you wait for a check in the mail. Usually it's within 2 weeks. On average, it's about a week. Or you can opt into direct deposit, so it might just be a couple days before you get paid. And you do it again and again and again until you don't want to anymore. Then my second track, this is one of our fun ones. This is frozen meals. So we wanted to give families something, still be able to bring that local piece to the house, but so you don't have to cook it or cut it or process it and learn what to do. Pop it out of the freezer, throw it in the oven, or throw it in the microwave. All of our meals are either individual, and now we're actually expanding based on community feedback into family-sized meals. So we're now going to things that are going to be between that 4 to 8-ish serving size so we can serve larger households. Lastly are my food boxes. And this one is where you would get to work with there are 4 vendors that I have a contract with, but in total there are 7 buyers under this track. And they are Creation Gardens, What Chefs Want, whichever name you know them by. They've got my statewide contract. And they have partnerships with Needmore Acres Farm down in Scottsville, Kentucky, Locals Food Hub here in Frankfort, and then Black Soil Kentucky, which is based in Lexington, Kentucky. Then I also have an agreement with Central Kentucky Growers. They're in Georgetown, Homegrown Direct, which is in Georgetown, and then Food Chain in Lexington. So every single person that I've named here is a buyer. So you've got up to 9 opportunities that you can tap into as much or as little as makes sense for you. And so we really want you to be able to use these pathways to either try something out. If you've never tried selling to someone who has a retail store, give it a shot. Because what do you have to lose? I'm paying you retail, and I pay you to get there. So you only lose maybe the 30, 45 minutes of your time. But if you're making a profit on it, that's another skill set to add to your box to where when I leave in a year and a half, you have had something to learn and to grow on. Then with my larger ones, especially in the food box track with Creation Gardens, they are a wholesaler distributor for a very large demographic area. And they sell to schools, but also institutions like colleges and universities and hospitals, and then restaurants, and some of the very niche artisan restaurants. So there's someone who, if you are you're already kind of in that mid-scale area and you want to go from mid to large, this is what kind of the place to go. So I'll give you a tiny snapshot of what we've done so far. To date, so this is starting in June of 2023. I've so far been able to give just under $1.6 million, and when I say farmer impact, that means of checks that we cut to the farmer for their product. So that's how much I've already spent. So I got 10 more to go. So I really, really, really need help to spend that. And this has represented a little over 100 farmer relationships. And so we use relationship because each purchase between a buyer is completely different. No buyer is the same in almost any regard outside of the rules of the program. So in each of these relationships, you are actually trying to build a market for yourself or work with that buyer to figure out, is this a good fit for you? How do you grow here? Or if it's not, use them as a stepping stone until we find you something else to do within the program. Then as far as pounds of food goes, that's what we've sent through the Feeding Kentucky network. So 548,000 pounds of food have been purchased and distributed throughout our food bank and pantry networks. Our food boxes, that is almost 25,000 food boxes, and that happened in 6 weeks. Yes. They pressed play on either the very last week of August or kind of mid-September and blew our numbers out of the water, hit the ground running, and pushed this many boxes out to end Q4 at December 31st. So this number is going to be probably, I don't know, I'm looking at maybe close to 100,000 maybe towards the end of the program. And so this is going to be a really big impact, not just for the community, but for you guys, and a lot of opportunity for you to sell. Then with my frozen meals, so far we've done 19,000 meals, and that's only about 3 months worth of meals that we've been able to do between our 2 partners. And that's going into some really cool recipes. We've done a lot of stews, shepherd's pies, lots of like skillets, hashes, bowls, and now we're moving into breakfast food, so we're giving burritos, sandwiches, that kind of stuff. So we're really trying to bring things that you would make yourself if you are at home, but you just don't have the time, or maybe you just don't have the ability to buy local. So right here is my webpage and then my interest survey. So the interest survey, that is, if you fill it out, I'll get your contact info, and then I'll send you an email that kind of recaps the program, send you some more direct info, but then you'll have a way to contact me directly. But then on my grant webpage, that is kind of going to be your one-stop shop of everything for the program. So all of my buyers, as soon as you open that page, you'll see all of their information right there. You'll know exactly who is currently buying, what they're buying, and what you need to know and do to be eligible to sell to them. On there as well is my producer guide, which is a link on this side, and then that's kind of where you'll get into the nitty-gritty and the details of what actually they're looking for. And so that will talk about offers, what needs to be in an offer, what kind of volume are they talking, things of that nature. But as always, I am available to everyone and anyone, and most of my time is spent directly with farmers and helping them, whether it's learn about the program, navigate the program if they're already in and they want to change. But if you do have an idea of what you want to sell, whether it's now or in the future, just let me know, and make sure you come to me, though, with an idea. It's very hard for me to talk through the program with you if I don't know exactly what we're selling. But once you do that, then it's pretty quick. If anyone here has built an offer, I've already built about 3 or 4 already in just today since I've been here. So it's pretty much tell me exactly what your inventory is, how much you've got, when it's going to be ready, give me the price, and then I tell you what buyers might be able to want it. And then we draft it up, send it. That's all I got. August, I do. August of 2025. Yes. And then what? You're talking about USDA, I couldn't tell you. But, I mean, hopefully it stays. I couldn't tell you. But August 2025, that's what I operate on. So I don't listen to potentials because I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I don't want to, yeah. So I operate as if we're just a year and a half. But it's still a lot of time and do a lot of good work. Any other questions? Cool. All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Terryn, and I am with KCARD, Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development. I'm really sorry, but I have no money to give you. I have a couple of 20s, in not many, a couple, but I have no money to give you. So I am not the person that you go to for any kind of program that you've already heard about, and I'm actually kind of glad it worked out this way for me to go last, because show of hands, how many of you are either overwhelmed by all the information that you've heard today, or you have tried to Google farm grants and got very overwhelmed? Yeah, shaking her. Okay, I'm the person that can help with that. So at KCARD, a lot of what I do, I sit down and I work one-on-one with farms and farmers. I don't give money, but I help you get money. And so if you are hearing all of these programs and you're going, which one do I do? Do I do all of them at the same time? Do I need to space this out? Let me help you. There are 10 of us across the state, and we will sit down with you at your kitchen table or wherever you are comfortable, and we will talk about your farm business with you. Sometimes it is maybe you need help setting goals, and we will look at where you want your farm to be. Maybe you want your farm to be here in 10 years, but you have no idea how to get there. I can help with that. If you are looking at your financials and you're going, I have no idea if I'm losing money, making money, am I rich or am I poor? I have no idea. I can help with that. And so a lot of these conversations that I have with people, they do tend at some point to land on loans or grants. Now, I've been writing grants for a long time. My first grant was to some athletic company to get a box of wristbands for my Boys and Girls Club kids. It gave me a very weird sense of what a grant is, because I had to fill out 2 pages, and then I never heard from them again, and they just sent me a box of wristbands. That is not really how grants work. Grants tend to be a little more complicated than that, and they tend to want a lot more from you, but we can help with that. So we do help write business plans. We have heard that a couple of times throughout today. We can help with that. We can help you write it. I have some folks that, they don't use a computer. I can help with that. Some folks don't, they have a shoebox for their receipts, and that's how they track their spending. I can help with that. I hope you all are seeing a theme here, because if you remember nothing else about me, I want you to remember that she can help with that. Because truly, that's what K-Card does. That is our bread and butter. We sit there with you, and every farm is different. Every farmer is different. We work with a farm that may make no money, and we work with farms that make millions of dollars. We want to help ag be successful in Kentucky, and everywhere, but we're Kentucky, so. I think for the grant side, for the funding side, what I want to encourage you all with is there is a grant out there for you. Sometimes it does not feel like it. When you Google or whatever search engine you prefer, you look up on the internet and you type in farm grant, how many come up? There's a lot, right? But maybe you're a tomato farmer and you are only finding grants that fund potatoes, right? It's really hard sometimes to figure out what works for you. We have a whole staff dedicated to knowing what grants are coming and helping our clients understand what they could qualify for. I'm going to give you an example. Right now, the USDA has the Value Added Producer Grant. That opened last week or the week before. The days are starting to run together. But if you do a value-added item, which, for example, organic is inherently value-added because you can charge more for a organic tomato than you can a regular non-organic tomato. So organic produce and other things are eligible. But I sent it to one person. They said, I hit print without realizing how many pages that was going to be. And it was 51 pages, and that's blank. And so we have to fill it in. So a good VAPG can be anywhere from 80 to 120 pages when it's finished. But don't worry. Right now, I'm at 100% success rate on getting VAPGs that I've worked with funded. Now, I might lose some this year, but we'll see. But that's our job, to help understand that. We help you, we don't write the grant for you, but we significantly hold your hand through the process. So if all of this stuff is overwhelming to you, please, what was the thing I said to remember? I can help with that. Absolutely. I have my cards, and I will give every single one of you a card if you would like it, and I'll be around to talk. So if you have questions about anything specifically, please let me know. And yes. Who pays my bill? That's a really great question. So we are funded by, I think, like around 20 different grants, but no cost to us, or y'all. Yeah, everything I just said is completely free. Yeah, we charge you nothing. So, yeah, so Ag Development funds us, the USDA, among a variety of others, but those are the big ones. So, yeah, everything I just said is completely free to you. Anybody else have a question? All right, good deal. Thank y'all.